everyone and welcome along. Thanks so much for your amazing comments about the orange tones that you love and why you put them in your palette. And today we're moving along to the colour red. Now I have these days Organic Vermilion by Daniel Smith as my warm red, and we have our notorious absolute classic of Alizarin Crimson. Yeah, I know it's Alizarin Crimson, but I just have pronounced it wrong since day one, and I don't know about you, but I'm kind of fond of it now. So I pronounce it Alizarin. I know it's Alizarin. Let's call the whole thing off. Grab your paints, let's get started. The reds in my palette are Organic Vermilion and Alizarin Crimson. Organic Vermilion was my recent replacement for Cadmium Red, and Alizarin Crimson has been there from day one. I've gone through a few different brands, but I'm now with Daniel Smith, very happy. And of course it is the colour that I pronounce wrong. It is, I do know, Alizarin Crimson, but if you think I'm going to pronounce it correctly without stumbling over my words each time, you are very much mistaken. So, you know, you might have to just put this one on subtitles and mute me. But let's begin, as we always do, with our value scale. So Organic Vermilion is a lovely warm red. It's not dissimilar to Pyrrole Orange next to it. And if you haven't seen our video on the oranges in the palette, you can just head to our Watercolour Painting for Beginners playlist and you will be able to check that out. It's just a really beautiful sort of rosy, warm red that works perfectly for poppies, telephone boxes, very British that, London buses, all of these sort of classic red tones. But what I love about it is as soon as you dilute it down, it actually makes a really beautiful pink, really good for a lot of flower petals and more sort of subtle tones. And then for Alizarin Crimson, it is a colour that I've included in my reds rather than pinks, because when I did my book, You Will Be Able to Paint with Watercolour by the end of this book, it was in fact Alizarin Crimson that was the red that I featured in my primary colours section when we were just working with 3 colours. And it's because it's just such a wonderfully deep, rich, complex, cool crimson colour. And it just does so many things. And I'm looking forward to showing you all of those, but you will be able to see this Fabergé egg, which is a bit of an Easter tradition to paint over on Patreon. We find a different egg design each year, and they are, or sort of jewel encrusted egg shape, and they are a great fun tutorial. And the thing we love to do with that one in particular is we created it using no actual metallic paints. We wanted to see how we could use the light and shade of a watercolour without resorting to metallics. And you can just see how light you can go. So there we have Alizarin Crimson, a much more sort of pinky, purpley edge of the spectrum red versus Organic Vermilion that's much warmer over here. So Organic Vermilion is the red we've been using as the red to mix with the primaries. So we'll just be mixing the red with the yellow and then mixing red with the blue. And we've also looked at this one when we were on our yellow video, but for the sake of enjoying colours and swatching, we're going to quickly just introduce that red into Hansa Yellow Medium and just see how a wonderful array of orange tones can be found when you put red and yellow together. And it's lovely because it feels like a real sort of one of the earliest things you learn at school, that red and yellow make orange, but I don't think at school we went into quite so much detail with it. And it's just lovely to have the time, really, isn't it, to really know our colours. And I just hope that when we get into painting subject matters and tutorials and projects in a few weeks' time, that you will be able to go, oh yes, I know how to create a lovely terracotta orange. Yeah, absolutely, no problem. Let's put the yellow there at the end. And then, so we're not going to mix red and red together, but we will do a organic vermilion and French ultramarine. Now, do you remember we were looking at Pyrrole orange and how surprisingly that turned into a range of beautiful purples? I'm expecting, but then expect the unexpected with watercolour. I was expecting that to happen here. Oh, and you know what? We are getting a lovely plummy purple kind of colour. With the blue and red. So we're getting this kind of colour. And the more blue we bring in, the more it starts to look like, we'll get them all together and I'll put a bit more blue in there. That is going very nicely into a lovely deep purpley blue. I don't want to quite say indigo because it's not quite that, but indigo would be a bit more pinky, but that's looking really nice. So there we have our organic vermilion mixed, but let's look at what Alizarin Crimson does with all three. So we're ready at the starting line, and Alizarin Crimson, more dominant than the yellow, deeper, darker. So in it comes just the tiniest bit, just trying to get a little bit. It has such an impact so fast. And feels similar to that one, maybe a little bit more golden. It's a bit, yeah, it's a bit more rich, isn't it? A little bit more in. It feels like a very high value, deep, lustrous sort of bronze now. Toffee. And let's see if it gets even more sort of burnt toffee or anything like that. I think that's really rather lovely. Just goes to show that even though Alizarin Crimson is deep and dominant, yellow really can have quite an impact on it when you have the two colours at the same liquid consistency. So let's have a look at whether we see any effect at all on organic vermilion. And to be honest, already I see it's the alizarin is dragging the organic vermilion into a world of pink. Now what you've got to remember, this is not an exact science because it is hard to get sort of the exact quantities and consistencies, but what I hope you can see is that the more you add one colour to the other, on the whole, you're going to see a step change. And therefore, that's why it's so important when you begin your mixing is that you take the tiniest amount of that more dominant colour and slowly and carefully introduce it in, because you are going to miss out on an amazing world of colours if you just go straight in with equal amounts yellow, equal amounts blue, or whatever. So we will reiterate that with this little mixing. So Alizarin Crimson, French Ultramarine, two big hitters. Two colours that would probably be fairly evenly matched in terms of dominance. So I don't think it matters all that much which colour I introduce first, but just as a matter of habit with the blue, I'm going to go for the blue into the alizarin. And already we get a lovely purple and a much more fresh bluey purple than with organic vermilion, because we've got more pink tones in the Alizarin Crimson. It's more vibrant. And I don't think everybody would say Alizarin Crimson would be a vibrant colour, but what it is a cool red watercolour pigment. Okay, lots of French ultramarine now. And that's a fairly beautiful regal purple right there. Lots more blue in it, but it's just got, it's similar to that, but it's just a little bit more vibrant. But you can see here the real differences in those early stages when you're just adding the tiniest bit of blue, and the red tone is the one that really is the main character in that piece. But again, what I love is putting those swatches there at the end of the unmixed colour and just seeing actually what effect these mixes are having. Okay, let's do a little walk of fame of some of the best paintings featuring these two colours that I've painted in recent years. It's a testament to how good these two colours are in combination that it's hard to find any paintings that really feature only one of them. So here we have, this was painted for the Jubilee, nice red, white and blue floral arrangement you can find on YouTube, but using the lovely organic vermilion and then just the Alizarin Crimson is always useful with flowers to create the sort of shadowy red tone on a red flower. Now this one is just with the main warm red there. This is from, well, it's from A Year of Watercolour, my orange book, but you also do find an interesting butterfly tutorial on the same species in my You Will Be Able to Paint with Watercolour by the End of This Book. Now here we have an interesting one. This is a Christmas painting I did of a front door, but using the warm red in a really, really diluted down way, and it looks like a completely different colour. And then we used Alizarin Crimson for just little features there. Then in Birds, Bees and Blossoms, my second book with the light blue cover, we've got a gorgeous ladybird using the lovely bright warm red, and you can see as soon as it starts to dilute down, you get the sort of lovely light warmth. And I remember we put in a little bit of orange underneath just to really bring out the warmth there. This was for the Lunar New Year. Great fun to paint a few years ago in a very sort of swoopy style. A lovely bright red, but does have accents of the alizarin crimson. And then here we have a lovely poppy featuring a lovely bold red, and then using the red in a much more concentrated consistency to create those streaks on the petals, and that can be found in A Year of Watercolour, my orange book. Now I did find a few paintings where Alizarin Crimson was used very much on its own for a purpose, not so much for red, but for a deeper burgundy colour. And this lovely little boat tutorial shows the colour really shining out there as a lovely deep tone. I've also got this simple loose watercolour rose, which very much featured these kinds of tones, making it quite a vintagey feeling flower. And then this was painted, I love this tulip. This was painted using predominantly Alizarin Crimson for a botanical calendar I created a few years ago, and I really enjoyed painting those wet on wet petals together. Here is another really interesting use of it, surrounded by sort of blue sky tones, and when used really diluted, it's got a lovely light pinkness to it, but I loved creating this crispness on the bird's eye around the face. This is a painting I really love, and it's a Patreon tutorial which you can find on the Sweet Pea tier. We do a lot of things like this where we just sort of push our creativity just that little bit further. And another Patreon tutorial using the Alizarin Crimson to a really bold, punchy result with the Fabergé egg. You may recognise Kevin from Home Alone here. This was a great combination of both the reds, creating a really classic Christmassy feel. And then to finish off, I've just got 2 fly agaric mushrooms here. This one going for a much warmer red, also featuring some orange tones, and this one here featuring red that goes way more down the pink spectrum. And I thought this would be the perfect piece to end on, just to show you how useful it is to have both of these reds in your palette. But I want to know from you which reds you keep in your palette and why. Why do you love them? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you next time where we'll look at all of our pinks.